It's November!
Yay!
Christmas next month.
We're very excited, aren't we? Can you tell?
Cannot wait. Tree goes up this month.
Yeah. Oh, does it not go up this weekend?
No, I'm going to leave it just maybe another week or so.
Another week. Yeah. We were practicing that beforehand. It's not just that we just went out for Hello, everybody. I do hope you had a fantastic weekend. Did you have a nice weekend?
I did, thank you very much.
Yep.
I had split the weekend, whereas the end of the weekend to Saturday I was down at Hobbymaker.
Yep.
And then yesterday I drove back, have a lovely chill drive back, chilled out the rest of the day yesterday, ready for a jam-packed week.
It is, and we've got loads coming up on the show, haven't we?
We've got loads.
Countdown to launch.
Yes.
All the things that are coming out in November.
Absolutely, yes. So we are going to be having a look over the next couple of hours as to everything that we've got launching. Becky's going to be going over it all, and I'm going to get the good job of having a little bit of a play.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this because I looking at the list and I'm like, oh, I like that. Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that. And I think you're going to be liking that too.
Well, you definitely will be.
Yeah.
We've got a lovely mix from colouring with paints, we've got stamps, we've got dies, we've got sentiments, magazines, so many incredible things coming up this month.
Looking forward to it. And because it's all about the countdown to launch, we are offering you... Do you want to sit down?
Okay.
We're offering you the opportunity to comment about your favourite launch, and you can win 100 points on your on your account. So what? £100? I've written that down there, and I thought that can't be right. It's £100, £100 voucher. So just comment on what's going to be your favourite launch that's coming up, and let us know, and we'll choose somebody at random before the end of the show, and you get £100, not just 100 points, £100 voucher. That's a bargain. Can I comment?
I think, do you know something? I think it might be tricky because we do have, I know we say it each month, and it stands true each month. But this month, I think because we've got a nice, lovely selection of different things, I think one of the favourites, I'm going to say it right now, because a lot of people love unicorns. Not too cutesy, not too grown up, it's a lovely in the middle. I think that might be a favourite for many.
Okay, but I see a lot of unicorns around where I live, so I'm not really that...
How good do you live?
Yeah. In a fantasy land, that's where I live, quite clearly. If you want to have a look at the booklet, I'm going to show you that just now. That's got all of the details on there about the launches. So you can see we've got things like that aged paper pad, which is absolutely beautiful with some florals in there. We've got some watercolor paints as well, all sorts of different things available for you in these launches. So do have a look. Let us know, please comment, let us know what's going to be your favourite launch. You might not know until later on in the show because Craig's going to be showing us all sorts of other deals. Do let us know. Also, I want to let you know, we've got a firework flash sale on. So you've got deals on glitter, sparkle, metallic and shimmer products. So do have a look at the website for those. There's also 30% off ink pads, selected ink pads, and up to 70% off embossing folders. So do make sure you have a look at the website for any of those. A few hellos before we get started. Michelle Knits For You says, good morning all. Genesis says, hello everyone. Carolyn says, good morning from Florida. And Tracy says, good morning everyone from Washington State. Good morning to you all. I hope you all had a fantastic weekend too. My weekend was filled with travelling. I'm just going to put it out. So I spent a lot of time travelling up and down the country and back here for today, even though I forgot on Friday that I was going to be here. That's very embarrassing.
Silly
Not very good, isn't it? It's just what you expect from me, though, isn't it? Let's be honest. Right, first product, should we show you these? These are liquid watercolours. These are absolutely beautiful. I've always wanted these kind of things when I was at art college. These are the colours that you're going to be getting. You can see really, really deep, really highly pigmented watercolours. They come in these gorgeous little, almost sort of like droplet jars, really, and making them really useful for you to use. So if you've got used to using watercolours in those kind of hard, sort of palettes, these are completely different in that these are liquid. They are obviously, you can mix them together a little bit differently. Different sort of techniques as to how to get them. You're going to get these two packs here, two different types of packs, two different sets of colours in here as well. But again, if I show you the boards, oh, have I got the same pack twice? Put that over there then. You're going to get there's two separate ones, but you can see those colours that you've got there, really, really rich colours. Did you steal one of my packs? Thanks. Yeah, look, there you go. You can see those two. Thanks very much, Craig. These are gorgeous. Craig, I'm looking forward to showing us how you can use these.
Shall we delve in? Let's show you some finished samples first, because with these ones being the liquid watercolours, this means that you're able to colour with them via paint with them, with your brushes if you want to, but with them being water-based, being the watercolour, you can start to dilute them if you want. You can use them, Becky, to create your backgrounds if you want.
Wow, they look beautiful.
These beautiful colours are going to work with whatever stamp that you have got, whether it's nature, whether it's vintage, whether it's cute, whether, of course, it's giving you that kind of holiday feel within the brightness. Maybe you want to come in and incorporate afterwards things such as your gilding waxes. You can absolutely do that. But these are just a joy to get creative with. And with these ones, they're really, really easy. Now, if you wanted to come along with a little tray or something, you can absolutely do that. But each of these come with their own pipette. So it's already there for you. So I've just got one of the colours that we can see here. And then all that you need to do is just pinch the top. And then that is it. That will then go into the little chamber that you've got here. This is now where you can start to apply it, Becky. So for instance, if we wanted to take, this is just a piece of watercolour card, and I'm just going to spritz some water. And then you can then let that do the travelling itself. So tiny little drop, look at that. That was just one little drop from the pipette. Then we can do another one. And then I'm just gently going in and letting that travel. So wherever the water spritz to, it's starting to create, very apt, of course, for bonfire this time of the year, giving you that effect. But if you're going into a section of card where there's a little less water, then it's going to stay enclosed together. But then if you want to then spritz that a little bit more, you can do that. That's pure colour. What's lovely, there's no shimmer, there's no pearl, there's no nothing. It's pure colour, nice, smooth, bright within the vibrancy. If we were to go in then, and they all come as well individually wrapped, so they're so brand new, they're nice, they're fresh for you to then grab a hold of. Just take your scissors or a craft knife, just run around the side there to release them all. But you do have your 12 colours in total. The outer wrapping, we can just discard that. And then in a moment, what I'm also going to do is we're just going to come along and we're just going to bring in a stamp that I've done a little bit of embossing. Okay. But if I then just lift this one up, and all that it is one press. That's all I'm doing to get that small little application. If you want to come back again and then start to spritz, but then you can start to create your own effect. Now do watch the colours that you use. Certain colours could then maybe go into a little bit of a muddy look, but still have fun, get creative with how you want to use it. This will be good to add accents to maybe your cosmic collection with these colours here. Yeah. But if I set that to the side for now, and we've got some beautiful stamps coming up on this show, but you know me by now, I cannot not use my favourite stamp. It's my absolute favourite.
It's been renamed as the Craig stamp. You know that,
the Craig stamp. Do you think the Craig stamp?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go in with the poppy red here, and I'm just going to take that off again. We're just going to discard the outer wrapping. Now, the actual lid you're going to keep in place. The wrapping, we're just going to discard. We don't need that one. And then let's actually just go in with this. This is just our watercolour card, and it's also our waterproof ink pad. And then we can then come along, and then this is where, if you've got something like a little tray or a palette or something like that, Becky, we could bring it in, and then I'm just going to then press that pipette. I'm just going to put a little bit into here. Then what we can do is come along, and then we can then start to paint with it. So I've got a little bit of water here to the side, and the tiniest of bits is going to go such a long, long way. You're going to get a nice, beautiful, smooth layout of colour. You're going to then be able to then create your different shades by diluting it more. You can go in and intensify that if you want. I can let that sit a little moment or two, Becky, and then we can go back to it. If I then go and add another layer here, we can, of course, come along and mix our own colours, blend our own colours with them being water-based. We can use our sparkle pens, our overlay, to then create that sparkle look. We can do that. But then if I just come along and just go in here, And then this is what I was meaning by, if I go back to this bit where I've kind of let that dry ever so slightly, and if I want to make that darker, I can go in, start to pull that out. Now, look, I've still got loads and loads. I've only done 3 petals so far, so you can tell that a full bottle is going to last you such a long time. Add that underneath. Or then what we can do, bringing in one of your stamps, maybe it's one of your favourite stamps, maybe it's a new stamp, what we can do is do heat embossing. So if I bring this one in, it's the same stamp and it's heat embossed. This is just your white outline that we've got.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to completely dry my brush. Although I'm going to use the red again, I'm just going to completely dry it. I'm going to go into my water and then I'm just going to colour inside the lines here, and because it's heat embossed, it's going to give us that little bit of, so I like to call it the bumper bars. It's going to give you the barriers here, and then I can then come along and then I can just press, and what's going to happen is the water is then going to pull
Oh, I love that effect.
all that colour, and what's happening is it will then be
Oh, look how pretty.
resisted by, of course, the outline of that heat emboss. Yes, I've
that is
chosen
fab.
to use the white embossing powder. You can use any, and this is only 3 ways in which you can use these. These are, as we were saying, your watercolor, liquid watercolor paints. So wherever you're familiar with your water-based techniques, Becky, you can come along and you can then use these in the same ways, your 12 colours, but you can start to blend your own, you can start to then create your own, you can start to mix your own, you can have so much fun. We can still go back, dab that in, add a little bit more extra detail by creating that darkness. The water we've already popped onto our card is still there, activating the colours
That is so
for us to
effective.
start to blend that out if we want to. But notice when I say blend, I'm saying that loosely, Becky. I'm not blending as I was doing here. What I'm doing is I'm just kind of like dabbing and I'm letting that water that's already there do its thing. But then if I set that one out the way here, if I show you how this is starting to come along, how fab's that? And then we can then, as what I would recommend is do that, let it dry slightly, and then base layer starts to dry, that excess that's on top, start to move and play with that. I would maybe give that another few moments, Becky, let another kind of layer, invisible layer, so to say, dry. What's then left at the top, have a play, mixing, moving. But as I say, as you come along, you can still do all your colouring. So whether you want to go rogue and then start to create things such as your circles, your ovals, create your baubles, going in here, similar to the effect that I've done here, but on smaller areas, smaller piece of cardstock, going in with your flakes afterwards, but bringing out all your other stamps that you've got, bringing out all your colours, like these colours, that Cheers to You collection shouts out being used, all your mixed media stamps that you've got, all your other standalone stamps, combining it all, Becky, that's colouring in, creating that outline, creating that little background as well. Still use them through the stencils if you want to. You can use these for every single season because of the 12 colours that you've got, 6 within each pack, but 12 individual liquid colour card that you can then start to create with all of these liquid watercolours.
Thanks very much, Craig. Next thing I'm going to have a look at is the vintage scrapbook. These pads are incredible. These are absolutely beautiful. 24 pages, as you would normally get in a 12 by 12 paper pad, but you can see all the tones in here, incredibly vintage, or that yellow ochre, the browns, the taupes, and the greys. This first one here is your vintage scrapbook. Lots of postcard images in here. I can see this being used a lot because it's such a a simple design. The colours are very muted. They're going to work with any other collection. This one's absolutely ideal for any kind of scrapbooking. You've got those maps in there, as well as things like those sort of vintage drawings of hot air balloons in here. Lots of script on there as well. 12 by 12. As always, these are uncoated paper pads. Lots and lots of ideas that you can be doing in here. So that's the first one. The next one is your distressed florals, which I think might have to be my favourite because this one is absolutely beautiful. It looks like, you know, sometimes when we watch Antiques Roadshow and they bring out a whole load of postcards that somebody's great-great-grandmother has collected. This is what this reminds me of. All those beautiful flowers, the butterflies in there. It looks like a whole collection of postcards that someone's collected. Almost things that have been painted on distressed white wood as well. Again, lovely tones in there, lots of greys and pale pinks and sort of beige colours in there. Another 24 pages in here as before, all uncoated paper we've got in here. Beautiful 2 sets here, 180 GSM for each of these. These are absolutely beautiful and going to be something that I hope that they keep for a long time because these kind of colours are going to work throughout the ages and throughout all our different collections. These are lovely, aren't they, Craig?
Beautiful, really, really beautiful. As you saying, with those vintage tones that you've got, you can start to add additional accents with maybe things such as your watercolor ink pads. Maybe you want to go with some of those colours we've just showed you with the liquid watercolors, but giving you that vintage feel, enabling you to do your cards. But what a lovely 8x8 scrapbook page that would create for you to pop your photo in the middle there. What about bringing things such as your template libraries? Start to really enhance the use of your template libraries by using these paper pads. What about your dies that you may already have from your memory albums? The really, really vintage feel with the colours, the look from the script work that you've got as well. But even when it comes to things such as the pocket watches, the old moths, the bird cages, using them to create your gift bags,
Lovely.
Using them to create your gift boxes as well. Whether you're using them completely on their own or you're using your stamp, using your dies to go with them, of course, you can absolutely do that. They're a real joy to get creative with when it comes to model making. We're going to then make a little envelope in a moment or two because they are lovely to create a little envelope for a little pocket note. Maybe you're creating home decor as well. You can find things like these within, you know, your little boutique stores. Why not start to create your own, bringing in your own little nesting dies, plain shape nesting dies. Works a treat by teaming with Black Card. This is going to be a big, big favourite of mine when it comes to Black Card. But what about as well your exploding boxes as well? So it's looking at what you've already got, Becky. Whether you're going to keep them really, really simple with having the papers added to your collection, maybe you're going to then create these fun little creations. You know, Debbie Robinson loves making things like these little boxes here. So we're going to be able to do larger ones, smaller ones, little notelets that we can then wrap around, bringing in our own bright cardstock. I mean, these cute little models that you can make. You're going to be able to do these by using the papers that you've got. As you said, 180 GSM, so it's borderline, nearly nipping into the realms of your lighter card. So as well as your mats and layers and your gift bags and your boxes and your scrapbook pages, what about a lovely, lovely envelope that you can make? Because it's always nice to receive something throughout the post, and as much as what's on the inside is important when it comes to a white envelope, maybe you're just teaming it together and then you're going to create a beautiful envelope. I know Becky was showing you, I'm just going to flick through a couple here before we actually choose. So you'll see from up above, if we go into here, so if I just show you from up above, it's easier for me to flick that way, that we have got the vintage teal with that crackle effect. You maybe like crackle effect. I struggle in the past, Becky, to create the crackled effect when it comes to things such as crackled mediums. It's already done for you. So let's take one of them out. Now I'm going to go to my envelope box creator. So I'm going to go in with this one and then this one so that you guys know exactly what I'm going to do and what I'm using should you wish to do what I'm doing. So let's make a lovely 6x6 envelope, and I want to keep it flat. So I like to go in with my inches here. So I've got my 1/2 inch depth. Here we go, flat envelope, I'm going to turn this one around. Keep it simple for now. Let's do 6 by 6. So I need a piece of cardstock that's 9 3/8 by 9 3/8. So I'm going to use my large guillotine for this one, and we're going to go and we're going to then match that up to the 9 3/8. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to cut, turn that around. We're going 9 and then 1, 2, 3. So we're at 9 and then 3/8. Lovely panels you're left over. So where it comes to wraparounds and belly bands, you know, this one's using Hessian. Why not start to create the wraparound with the excess?
Nice.
Distress it with your edge crimpler if you want to, or just create that strip background that I like to do. Now, I'm using the Envelope Box Creator. You can use your Ultimate Pro if you want, but going back into our guide, I know it's position 1 because it's a flat envelope, and as I was saying, 6 by 6, 9 3/8, so I need position I and I. So we're going into position 1 there. I'm going to come along and I'm going to just score these. So I'm going to keep this one really simple. I'm not doing any decoration. I'm not doing any inking. You can because they're uncoated. But could you imagine, Becky, what it would be like to get a card or a notelet set or a little gift that's been made, and then an envelope's been created within these papers? Whether it's a thin one, whether it's 1/4 of an inch deep, 1/2 an inch deep, whatever way that you want to use them, but it's a nice paper to do that with. And I really do love this crackled effect. So going in here, and it also, with the double-sided, it means you don't have to worry about doing envelope linings, because on the inside, you've already got that beautiful design there. So if you don't like the plain inside of an envelope, you don't need to worry, because you'll start to see we've got the inside already beautifully decorated for us. So I'm going to then open these ones up. These I would definitely be inclined to get either the edges of my scissors or things such as your edge crimpler and distress the edge, ink the edge, go round with things such as your Gildan waxes, or maybe your Stay Sticky glue and your Gildan flakes, adding those accent details in, because it's really going to finish off the papers depending on how you use them. It'll be no surprise with these ones, it was Faye that's designed these ones, so you'll know how phenomenal she is with the layout of papers and the designing. But forming that one together, if I bring in a tape runner so that we can just seal this one, and we're going to go down the sides here, into position here, we're going to fold that one over, and then we're just going to press that in. Let's just burnish the edges, press that in. Now we've now taken one of those sheets. What a lovely, lovely distressed envelope, giving you that crackled effect, but you can then add maybe a little matting layer when it comes to writing the recipient's name, or maybe the address on there. You know, it's going to make the postman or the post lady smile when they see an envelope like that one as well. Or take your nesting dies and die cut into lots and lots of little icons that you're going to find, Becky, within the paper pads.
Thanks, Craig. That is gorgeous. Really like that. Lots of people loving what you've been doing. Madge says, I had a quick look at the booklet. Lots of crafting goodies, but I like the sentiments. Remember, anyone that comments about the launch that they're most interested in seeing will be put into a draw, and we'll win someone will win a £100 voucher. Not 100 points, £100. See, I was surprised. We've been very generous after birthday. Lisa says, all those liquid watercolours look fabulous, gorgeous colours. They really are very, very vivid, aren't they? Janice says, my favourite launch, new launch, I'm torn between the watercolours, the sentiments and the aged papers. Just put them all on your list. Carolyn says, well, that didn't take long. I'm sure I wouldn't need any of these watercolours. And then I saw the backgrounds Craig just did, and bam, I want them. Not surprised. I really like the idea of being able to use something a little bit different. Carolyn says, the aged paper pad looks beautiful and added to my wish list. Rebecca says, the possibilities for these are endless. Trish says, those liquid watercolours look like great fun. Susie D says they're looking amazing. So is Julie. Susie D loves the vintage pad. Genesis says the aged papers are a must. I find making these a pain. They are a little bit of a pain to age down papers, so that's quite nice to be able to get everything like that. And Mary Beth said I can see the paper in a heritage scrapbook. And Jerry says my paper addiction has been activated. Beep, 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 because that's what happens. Maybe you have to press a button or ring a bell, like Pavlov's dogs. Jocelyn says, I love all these creations, amazing ideas, yet the design team always do make absolutely fantastic ideas and fantastic makes. We are going to give you a couple of moments to have a cup of tea. We will see you back in a couple of moments.
Come in, check my emails, then lay the shows out in the studio, set pack shots up. Then I will get new polls, pick shows, solve any problems that need solving. We deal with other teams where we receive marketing suites, we receive boards. We pick samples to send to Hobby Maker. We pick samples to send to QVC. We will take the previous shows out of the studios, set the new shows up. We do floor manage occasionally, not all the time, making sure that the craft expert presenters have everything at hand that they need. Anything that they haven't got during shows, we will run about and get the products for them. Think on a morning when it's really quiet, I can get more done when there's nobody else in the building. Night owl. Morning. Coffee on a morning, tea the rest of the day. Savoury. Normally lunchtime. Craft along. Mobile phone. Christina's chicken wrap. Barry White, you're my first, my last, my everything. Go home and make the tea.
Day to day looks like, on a normal day when I'm working from home, get up, breakfast, quick phone call with my daughter, and then I'm up in the craft room and I spend all my time in the craft room. If it's spending a day with the grandkids, that's it. That's my best part of the day, just spending time with family and those gorgeous little grandkids of mine. The best part of the day when I'm at work is when I go on air, because I absolutely love it. Both. I prefer a shower in the morning. I feel fresher. I feel that I can tackle my day. However, depending on how that day's been, I also would have a double shower, so I'd have one in the morning and one at night too. Absolutely, 100% coffee. Will always be coffee, and flavoured coffee is my favourite at the moment. Dare I say, it's a full English breakfast, the full works, the beans, the tomatoes, the bacon, the sausage, and everything else that goes with a traditional English breakfast. Craft along. Every day of the week. I absolutely love going through the stages from the start of a project to the end of a project. So craft along is definitely my favourite choice. I can't leave without my lipstick. It's a given thing. I once didn't have a lipstick on me and Leanne helped me out that day. Kick off the shoes, sit down for a couple of minutes, just gather my thoughts and then grab my tea.
Hello everybody, welcome back. We're going to be looking at the outline dies here. We've got some fabulous ones here. This first one with the wolf howling at the moon. Next one is that gorgeous fox. I do love a fox. And this one with the tiger, really, really beautiful. I'm looking forward to seeing the samples of these. This one with your owl. This one has a little hummingbird. And then finally, they've got this one with the stag. Now, to show you on the boards, because you can really see them when they're in black and white, you're going to be getting a die and a stamp here to create these beautiful designs. So flick through these, you can see them much better like this in the black and the white. You can see how large they are, how much you're going to be getting in these packs. Love that little bird. And that wolf, so popular, that wolf idea, and that stag, let's go wild stamp. These are great, Craig. We're looking forward to seeing the samples that the design team have put together, because these are really quite striking, aren't they?
Really, really striking. But what's lovely with these ones is the actual detail of each of the animals. It's not too much, it's not overly powering. You've just got that nod, that highlight of what's then been cut away. So you can clearly see the stag. It's no surprise, the stag being my favourite. But because you can cut them on a variety of different cardstocks, maybe you want to cut them onto your white and then use the liquid watercolours to paint them. Use your glitters over the top. You can still blend with them depending on the card that you use. So use your Nina, you can alcohol colour once you've die cut, watercolour, use your water-based colour in. Maybe you love to create your backgrounds that Sheena loves to create. I mean, how beautiful is that?
Yeah.
That you could start to create in different ways with the liquid watercolours, then go over with one of the outline dyes. That's it done. Teaming them with what you've got. So referring back to Sheena, this has been one of those big sketched ovals within her past collection, having the owl at the bottom. Going back to the stag, I mean, going in there, with how beautiful does that look? Just going in with that rosette, creating that accent. Teaming it with your papers. So these are going to be right at the forefront of your project. With the visual eye, that's what you're going to be drawn to straight away. You're not being taken away by any of the too much detail cut. As I was referring to a moment ago, what's been cut away is a light little section that then really enhances that outline, that close to silhouette feel of each of these animals. So maybe you're going to team them with your bright but beautiful mirror cardstock when it comes to the stag. About your home decor, a lot of people, like myself, are going to start to think about Christmas, starting to then use them for home decor, going in with your collections. I mean, look at that one there, adding, taking things from your masculine male collection and using them in conjunction, bringing in your past dies and creator cards. So I purposely wanted to show you as many as I could, because a lot of these have been die cut and placed on the top of a background. Now, when I say background, what I mean by that one, Becky, let's bring in, and I've just chopped it down. Remember the background I created at the start with the liquid watercolours? Well, I've taken that, and out of all of them that you get within the outline set, you won't be surprised to know I've gone for the stag. So we're going to go in with the stag die. I'm not going to use the stamp, but I have got some Centura Pearl, and I've also got some gold satin cardstock. So the whole die cuts out, plus the detail within the middle. So I'm going to then just pop that onto my cardstock, and even though you've got small little detailed elements within these ones, you don't have to change the configuration of your plates. You're going to use them in the same way that you do any die cutting. We're going to then bring in our base plate. So we're just going to sit that on here, and then I'm going to tape that down. What I'm also going to do, although I'm not going to use what will be the scrap, what I am going to do is purposely, Becky, cut it in the middle, because we're going to be left with an aperture. So thinking of now having not only the detail die cut within the outline die, but we've also then got potential to have a silhouette to ink through, and spritz through, and create that backdrop through. So we're running that one through. I've gone in with 2 shims there, haven't I? There we go, let's bring that one in. So your wafer thin die cuts, it's just going to be your base plate, it's going to be your card, your die, it's going to be your frosted magnetic top plate. Would recommend adding the magnetic shim in here because you've got a little bit of extra detail. Now there, Becky, that's what I mean, just that with a little bit of plaid paper onto that background.
Lovely.
Or maybe you want to ink through them, which you can absolutely do. And if I do that, just briefly, let's bring that one into here. Let's take a midnight. Now you can tape it down, you can be using things such as your repositionable sprays if you want to, but what we can do is if we just start to ink up, I will just put a little bit of tape top and bottom to hold it down. I'm now going kind of off piste here, Becky, whereas I'm not even actually using it just yet within the way that it's been designed to be used. I'm not worrying about the edges just now because this isn't what it's about. Okay. It's just to show you what you can do with your waste. Yep. So if I go in here and then we can use that cardstock a number of times. It's not as if it's a one-time use. So moving that out the way, we'll show you in a moment the actual die cut. But if we look at what we're left with the waste, look at
beautiful.
That. How fab is that?
Yeah.
That's from waste. But let's set that out the way for now. Let's come along with the actual die cut. So this one is in the satin, the gold satin. So I'm going to bring that die in once again. I'm just going to take out all that excess. Let's go back in, flip our plates, go in with our Centura Pearl. I'm going to purposely again do it in the middle only because saving waste, I can take that home and use that down the line. So let's get rid of any little bits. These will go through your Gemini MIDI. So your MIDI, your Junior, your OG, your G2, they will all work. We'll have a look in a moment if I've got a mini folder, just to double check. I think it's borderline if it's going to fit within the mini or not. But if I take that out here, so you'll see from overhead, and then if I then just pop all these little bits out, hold these out, and then I eyeball a folder. So let's bring that in here. Oh, look at that, Becky.
Oh.
So at least with this die anyway, what you're going to find is these are going to work with every single one because of the size of them will work with each one. So if I bring in that 3.6, I'm just quickly having a look. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the biggest one.
That's the biggest one. So these will all work within your mini as well. So that's good to know that you've got that, that in the knowledge. So if we bring that one in and we can sit that over the top, how lovely does that look against that background? If I must have dropped my gold piece. So if I just set that to the side, here it is here. So can you imagine that just sitting there? Of course, doing that drop shadow, sitting here.
That looks brilliant.
But if you were to, Becky, sit that straight over the top, you've now got that backdrop. You can still do a drop shadow if you want to. What about in with the gold over that blue? We're then pulling that down for a drop shadow. Or what we can do is do the drop shadow. And I have taken inspiration from a card I'll show you in a moment. That could go into there, but doing your inky background straight away onto there, do a little bit of a splatter with some of your gold and look at that. So pigment, water reactive, our new liquid colours, our new colour Bloom, Duet, all these inks you could use if you want, but that lovely statement of the outline dies, they are beautiful. And yes, no surprise, Stag's my favourite.
Wow. Really like those. I'll be going after those myself. Lots of people messaging in to say what they're loving. Jay Presley says, good morning, all from Philadelphia. Anything Crafters Companion launches, I love. No one does it better. Oh, thanks. I'm taking all the accolades for that, and it's nothing to do with me, but I work for the same company, so it's sort of us. Anne says, at this point, I think it would be easier to list the things I'm not interested in. That's always good, isn't it? I like that. Laurie says, so many lovely launches. Charlene says, I need a bigger craft room due to all the fabulous CC products. Trish says, oh, the outline dies are just adorable. Amali saying the outline dies would pair well with the Sheena collection. Absolutely. We've also got Tracy saying, I love outline dies. Die cutting is my absolute favourite. It's incredible what you're able to accomplish now you have die cutting machines and dies, isn't it? Because there are things that before you just wouldn't be able to do. Bethan says, stunning samples. I love the size of these. Darlene is saying, wow, the design team are so talented and they're such beautiful samples. And Trish says, love the stag. It reminds me of my favourite show, Outlander and Scotland.
Yeah, I've not seen Outlander.
No.
I know a little bit about Scotland. Just a smidge.
Do you?
Just a smidge.
What do you know about Scotland?
Actually, I probably don't know as much as I should do, yeah. Me and geography, certainly Scotland, where I'm from. Yeah, you know.
I was watching Family Fortunes the weekend, and one of the questions was, what do you associate with Scotland? And what was number one?
Haggis.
It was haggis. It wasn't Craig.
Yeah.
It wasn't Craig.
Okay, maybe I do know a little bit about
I had a few
Scotland.
things that I wanted to put down, and they weren't on there. I would have said iron brie,
Yes.
and that wasn't. Oh, it was a
Kilt.
kilt, tartan.
Sporn.
No, Highland Games was on there.
Okay, that yeah.
Yeah.
Stag, deer.
Thistle.
Thistle. Yes.
yeah.
Thistle. I get that one. That's a
But
good
yeah,
one.
I don't know if the stag was on it. Might possibly, but yeah, I thought iron brew or whiskey was on there as well, as you'd expect. I would have gone for salmon and iron brew, not together.
Smoky.
Smoky what?
Smoky. So it's a fish. Tend to do it up in Arbroath. The smoky.
Oh, is that okay? No, it wasn't in there.
Well.
Interesting. Oh, there you go. See, you learn a little bit about Scotland in the show as well. The next thing I'm going to show you are the all occasion sentiments. This is what the pack looks like, but I'm going to show you on the boards because here you're going to be getting a whole load of different stamps with all sorts of different sentiments on them, as well as the die to cut out all the sentiments. They're almost like typewriter sentiments that you've got here. These are the kind of things that you're going to have on here. So you've got things like, you know, your normal sort of relationships, your mum, your dad, your grandma, you've got mom, you've also got things like lovely, pretty, great day, wonderful, all sorts of things. So you can really make it your own. You can really sort of put together exactly the kind of sentiment that you want to do on there. You can see on here, there's pretty much everything that's being covered that you could possibly need, making these really useful, and they're nice and big and bright and quite modern looking. I'm like it, again, as always, I always like to see what the design team make with these. These are going to be really useful for everybody, aren't they, Craig?
Yeah, really are, because you can start to create your own little different sentiments. I was having fun because actually the boards Becky was showing, I actually created them. So when I was stamping, cutting, I was even having a play as to the different configurations. Because as Becky was saying, you can use these for everything.
Oh,
maybe you
pretty.
want to do just a straight background, but how pretty, absolutely, does that look? But then starting to create not only your own sentiment, your own verse, your own saying, but you dictate the way that it looks, the way that you position it, whether you have them clumped together, whether you cut them off each other, so it's entirely up to you. And because these are your top quality stamps, as you know by now, that means you can still do your heat embossing with the sentiments as well. You can still stamp them onto a variety of different coated card, but you don't have to worry about bringing in the paper trimmer, bringing in the guillotine. As much as I do like using the guillotine to cut out my sentiments, you don't have to worry about that because you've got the die that does it for you. Now, it's two different sentiment sets of stamps, as Becky showed you, but it's one die, and that's because that die will fit both. Ironically, bringing in that thistle, which was not planned, but how well does that look? Sending best wishes, sister, get well soon. Because you've got so many different titles, permutations as well, occasions, you can then just take the sentiment that you need, do a little bit of an inky background, stamp background, do an embossed background, entirely up to you, and then you start to bring in all your sentiments. Now, what you are going to want to do, and I'm saying you're going to want to do it, and you'll understand why in a moment, get yourself a little container, maybe something like, you know, that our gems or that came in, or our stack and stash, because even if you just need a couple of sentiments, it's going to be worthwhile stamping and cutting them all. So if I bring in my stamping platform, now this is the die that we've got here. Now you'll see the die there, so the stamps are going to be exactly the same size, so therefore it's going to go through your midi as well as your junior. So we're just going to pop that on. So you're going to choose, of course, the ones that you want. Maybe it's going to be a crossover. You're going to want some from each stamp one, cut, and then just repeat that. I'm going to go in and let's just do one of them for now. And then we're going to peel these off. So all of these sentiments are together. Don't worry about pulling and stretching them. They're incredibly hardcore. You just want to then get them off that back end, and you don't need to line them up. You don't need to position them on a grid. All that you need to do is sit it onto your cardstock. So we're going to go in with our stamping platform. As I say, where we're going to lift. Now, I'm going to do what I always do, Becky, and these are brand new, never been used, so I'm just going to give them a light prime, just with my translucent clear watermark ink pad.
Okay.
Just means that we're going to get a nice, beautiful, smooth stamped impression, and you only need to do this once. And then we're going to then take our chosen ink. So let's take whatever one that you want. I'm just going to go in with one I had to hand, which is our watercolor. Could be your alcohol base, could be your duet, could be your pigment, could be your quick dry. Any stamp or ink that you want to use for your stamps, you can do that. And we're going to make sure that we've got a nice coverage, but by using a stamping platform, you don't need to worry. If we miss any bits, we just go back and we apply. So we're doing nothing different that we wouldn't do with any other stamp. So although all of them are together, and then you're going to come along and use the die with it, you're not changing the method. We're layering it up, inking, we're releasing. Pretty happy with that. Just a little bit light there. So I'm going to press that in. There we go. Really happy with that. So I'm now going to then peel these here. So if I lift that up, now we are good to go. What's lovely, if you use the die on its own, Becky, we've got lovely blocks of die cut. So what we're doing is if I bring that in here, can you see that it perfectly fits every single sentiment?
Nice.
Now if I bring this one in here, although I'm not going to stamp it, but if I bring it in, notice all of the words are the same size as that other stamp. So that's why it's one die. So we're going to turn this around. Now, although I was saying, Becky, that you're going to stamp them all, die cut them all, and then pop the ones you're not using in a little container, if you were maybe only wanting wedding or thank or friend, something like that, you can just ink that certain area and then just use the die. You're left with little blocks to be using individually afterwards. So you use it the way you want to, but we're going to then align that one up, and then we're just going to visually make sure that we're nice and central. When we're happy, we're going to tape it down. So the stamping is nothing different than you already do. The die cutting is nothing different. Simple die cut. So what I would do, Becky, is do my frosted. I would take out my magnetic because it doesn't need that extra pressure.
Right.
So where there's no extra pressure needed, take it out. That's then going to prolong the plates even longer. And in case you're like, oh, I'm not quite sure, when do I know? If it's a basic shape, chances are you will not need the magnetic shim. So what we're then going to do is we're just going to open this one up, pull that away, pull that off, and then we're just going to start to break. Now these ones, you'll see I did need that magnetic shim there, but we are using older plates. So if you find that they've maybe not quite caught, you've got that embossed kind of line there, but what we can do is let's pretend we've got all these sentiments. So I'm going to take another piece. I'm not going to stamp. I'm just going to take another piece of cardstock, but we will pop in that magnetic shim just to show you how well that it does cut. I thought maybe because it's simple shapes, we wouldn't need it. Probably my plates at home, I wouldn't need it, but I think we could do with replacing our plates here.
Every machine's slightly different anyway,
Well,
isn't
it is, yeah. But let's go in, let's pop that in. So we've stamped. Let's go in with our frosted. We're going to go in with our magnetic, and then we're going to go in with our top plate. And then we're going to run that one through here. So this will show you, and don't worry, don't panic, that's normal. I know a lot of people will think that, oh my gosh, that's noisy. Straight edge die cuts going into a plate. So you'll see, now that we've got that pressure right, you can see that what we have got is we've got all these blocks now that will have all of these sentiments in there. So if you want to come along and start to, I'm just going to then chop just a couple of these ones off here and have a little bit of a play with the words. Do the other one as well, stamp it out, and then if we were, look at this, even if we were just to bring in that inky background again, and then we can play. I know that none of this will make sense because I've not got them all. It's about the positioning to show you how you can then start to move them into place. If you want to ink them, you can do that. If you want to do your drop shadows, you can do that if you want to. But we're just going to then work in with our own sentiment heat emboss them if you want to. Let's see if I can pick it up. So you decide, do you want them clumped together? Do you want them maybe off to the side here? Maybe you want to have them channeled all the way down like so. You can absolutely do that, but because you've got your different sentiments in your different sizes as well, or what about creating your own kind of faux background? Don't do any stamping, and this is like blocks of stone and brick,
Yeah.
and you can do that. So if we just start to channel that one in. So this is why you can get really, really creative with these ones. What I would say at home, try it without your magnetic shim. I know it didn't work for me there. Try it without. Your plates are probably going to be newer than mine, and then you're going to find it's going to cut perfectly. But just having that bit of a play, but bringing, there we go, there's that back one.
Oh yeah.
So that one's then been done, creating them side by side, inking through. Great set, having all these different sentiments that you can then start to create your projects, think about Christmas with the sentiments, maybe your boxes, maybe your scrapbook pages, or just any occasion and any title are covered when it comes to the stamping the dies.
Thanks very much, Craig. Really inspiring those. I really like them. We've got a few comments coming in here. So we've got Diane saying, I'm liking all these occasion sentiments. Genesis says, I'm trying to build my crafty collection. I don't have many sentiments. I think this entire launch had me in mind. Well, that's what we like to hear, don't we? We like to know that exactly what you'll be looking for. Jerry says, I love the sentiment stamps. They're so versatile. Trish says, oh, how smart. Love that the die for sentiment stamps. And I suppose actually, even if you use just the die for cutting out card, you've then got perfectly sized stamps to use, pieces of card to put your ordinary stamps on if you've got other sentiments. Obviously, it will be a bit, that kind of size. But I always find that quite difficult when I'm printing, I'm sort of stamping a sentiment, and then I'm having to trim the card, especially if it's quite small. Trish says, I love the idea of embossing them and storing them for future use. Yeah, that's quite a good one, isn't it? We have, Rachel said, I cut loads in different colours and then put them all in plastic die and stamp and storage wallets to grab when I need them. Good idea, might as well be prepared. Karen says, I love the all occasion sentiments. I would batch make them and have them on hand wherever I needed them. Joe is saying the sentiment stamps are great and very useful. And Sharon says, I will use these with my floral layering stencils. Jerry says those liquid watercolours with the sentiment stamps make a perfect contemporary card. They really do, and actually really quick. When you see Craig making those that background and then using those sentiments, you can make a card in no time at all. Nice and easy for you. So do keep messaging in and letting us know what you're keen on having when we have all these launches, because we're going to choose somebody at random by the end of the show, and they're going to win not 100 points, but a £100 voucher. I'm just a bit amazed that we're giving away a £100 voucher, that's all. And I'm quickly messaging everyone at home to tell them to message in. So potentially they might win and then give it to me. That's what I want them to do. The next thing we're going to have a look at is the magazine. I love the magazine. When I first started crafting, buying these kinds of magazines was really, really useful for studying paper craft, because there was so much inspiration in here. But then there was loads of other stuff, bits, things in here. So in this one, you've got some dies, you've got stamps, you've got embossing folders, but you've also got papers in here and 178 projects in here. As always with these, there is so much in them. And actually, whilst they come out every now and again, you can spend days and different days working your way through all the different bits and pieces in here. To give you an idea, these are some of the papers that you've got in the pack, but also you've got all these type of projects that you can make. There is an absolute wealth of information in here, and I know that if you haven't got one of these before, I know people collect them and they keep going back to them week after week, month after month, year after year for inspiration, because sometimes we all find, we don't quite know what we need to do, what we want to make, and you need that little something to enter that spark of inspiration for you. Now, Craig has got some samples over on the other side of the studio, but I've got two, and they are just stunning. So these are things that you could potentially make. We've got all the instructions for these inside that little magazine. They are absolutely incredible. And they're making something like this for someone that's new at paper crafting. You would think, well, I don't even know where to start. But by buying the magazine, they're going to help you step by step of the way, aren't they, Craig?
every step of the way, whether it's pictures or whether, of course, it's the words as well as the ideas and inspiration. So because we've got the folders as well, we've then got stamps in there and we've got dies. What I'll do is I'll have a little, just a little, flick through the magazine in a moment, because I know a lot of you like to wait and get at home, sit with a cuppa or a coffee and then just have a little flick through, but we will give you a little indication as to what to expect, and then we will do a little bit of cutting as well. So yes, whether it's the smaller cards, you've got your stamps in here. The magazine is a beautiful, beautiful collection to start to team things that you've bought throughout our birthday event, teaming things that you've already got within your stash from us, within other brands. But if not, what you've got is a comprehensive craft kit with the magazines, you've got the step-by-steps, you've got your pictures in there, but then you've got your dies, you've got your folders, you've got your stamps, you've got your stencils as well, all of which are designed exclusively for the magazine. So you're not going to find them elsewhere, and you're not going to have found them elsewhere in the past. So whether you want to do your home decor, you can do that by starting to create the rosettes and then using the components you've got included. Maybe you simply just want to use it and frame them, that you can see, maybe start to colour with the
I like that.
colours. And then as you were showing that beautiful sample, Becky, what about this one here? If we open this up, what a great gift for a gardener.
Wow.
Going in with your seeds in there, really nice gardening gloves as well, using the papers in there, using the die cuts in there, using the stamps in there. Really, really lovely gift that you can start to get creating. So if we bring the magazine in, as I said, we're not going to flick through the whole lot, but we will give you a little bit of an indication as to what to expect. This is in working together with Practical Publishing. So what they don't know about magazine producing and publications is not worth knowing. But you've got the pictures, you've got your steps. Now you're going to find other incredible crafters out there, not just from Crafter's Companion. So you're going to get other people's takes as well. Now within this issue 7 magazine, probably notice we're going into the springtime. So I will show you the papers, the toppers, the sentiments as well. All of these you will just need to cut out by hand, and all this extra left over, start to bring in your punches and use them. They're all uncoated, so you can still ink them and distress them, run them through your embossing folder. Love that kind of square checker effect. You've got your dots in there. Start to do your ribbon strips if you want to. You can do that. Start to use them for things such as your scrapbook pages that are maybe 8x8, 6x6. All of that are within the centre of the magazine. Then you've got stenciling. Step you through the best way to do stenciling, your home decors, and you've even got little bits in there as to things that you're going to need and things that are going to be useful in the day-to-day crafting. So let's go in with the die and let's go in with the folder here. So we've got our circular create a card die. So this one being a circle with the florals, and then all that I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my cardstock, and I'm going to bring in our new plates. We have got some new plates now.
They magically appeared.
They've just magically appeared. So we're going to use those now to then tape down. So if we then start to tape that down into place here, and then I'm going to go our frosted magnetic, and then we're going to go in with our top plate. So that's going to create that floral. So we can then, within the white card, we can ink it, we can blend, we can then do a spot colouring if we want to, or we can leave it natural within that white look. But if I remove this one out here, and then if I tap all of these out, we're also left with that perfect circle silhouette. But if I take all of these bits, pop them out, if I bring in a little bit of cardstock that I've got here,
oh,
how beautiful but delicate does that look. Your little gems would work in there as well, your little pearls in there, little sentiment, maybe one of those block statement sentiments if you want to. Some of these will actually work within those little blocks, the tiny little sentiment stamps. So that one being that circular create a card. If I then come along with, I'm going to go in with another piece of card. Now the folder is 4x6, so I'm going to cut this 3 3/4 by 5 3/4, and this is also a piece of white cardstock, our white cardstock. let's go in with a little bit of straw bale. Now it's a 2D folder, so let's take that off the back in here. I always keep all of my goodies from the magazine in the box that it came with.
Okay.
You can of course store them separately if you want to, but notice as well, any of the little adhesive gum, I would always recommend take that off before you start using it, just so it doesn't stick to your card or stick to your plates. So I'm going to open it up, and it's a lovely outline folder that you've got. So I'm going to go in with straw bale, a lovely subtle but springtime yellow. And what I always do as well, Becky, I can never decide what side I want to have that letterpress effect.
Okay.
So I do both.
Oh, that's a
I
good
do
idea.
both. Even if I do know what side I want, I still do both, just so visually I can have a look and know for next time whether I want to do that or not.
Okay.
So I'm going to go in with my cardstock. Let's sit it whatever side you want. It's irrelevant. We're going to lift and then we're going to press. We're going to go in with our plate. So because this is a 2D folder, we're going to go in with our base plate, and then we're going to go in with our top plate here. So we're going to then lift that one up, and then we're going to then move and pop that through our Gemini. These will all go through our MIDI as well, some of which little ones go through the mini. But if I then lift this up, what we've then got is we've got either one way where the raised embossed detail stays lovely, crisp and white, but then if I go into the other side, the actual ink has been pushed into the cardstock. So this is why, if you're ever unsure, do both, and now you can choose which way and what side you want to use. And then I'm going to bring in a guillotine here once again, and because that was 3 3/4, let's also do 3 3/4. I could use that as a little tag later. But if I pop that onto a little bit of white card, if I come back in with that piece that I used to cut into, we can pop that through there. So that's popping through. Maybe even, let's do a little bit of trimming all the way around. So we've got a lovely green layer just to finish it off. So if I then move it, bring that into place, and then you can see you've got that backdrop ready to go. That could be on the forefront if you want to, but if we pop that back, and then we can even just come along and just infill. So you've got that white on white with a little bit of yellow just popping through. Maybe bring one of your sentiment stamps in there. You've got the lamb and the chick, could be just down there into the corner, but you've still got your large florals in there, and you've still also got your stencils as well. So you can ink them, emboss them, spritz them, do the light water brushing with your liquid watercolors as well. But a great way to use many of the components together from the magazine, where every component is brand new to the magazine. It's been designed for the magazines, where you've got the ideas, the inspirations, the tutorials, the written, you've got the pictures as well, and it's all dedicated to all of the projects that you can make from throughout the magazine.
Thank you very much, Craig. That by using that letterpress with the yellow, it reminds me of a custard cream biscuit.
It does, actually.
It looks like that kind of embossing design. I like that.
I can see that.
Laurel says, I've always loved the Inspiration magazine, looking forward to number 7. Linda says, I always get the magazines, they are great and have such wonderful ideas. There's so much in them. It really makes, I think if you've got someone whose birthday's coming up and that kind of thing, they're really quite good as a gift, with perhaps a gift card, perhaps a Crafter's Companion gift card as well. Then they've got, an inspiration, and they've got the ability to go and buy something else. But I think giving someone, instead of a, oh my goodness. It's almost like I was told to say that, and I wasn't, was I? But one year for Christmas, there was some magazine they suggested that rather than giving just a gift card, because they're quite small and they get lost, you should attach it to a magazine, so you've got something bigger to give them. So that's what I would suggest that you do for people for Christmas. Yeah, definitely. It's like almost like I was meant to say it.
That's what it was like, wasn't it?
Rita says, that die is so dainty, I absolutely love it. It is gorgeous. And Mary Beth says, these magazines always get my mind working, great for inspiration. Absolutely. And of course, they are timeless. So we know that many of you have been collecting them for a long time and keep going back to them. We are going to go for a quick break and just give us a time to get ready for the next few demos. We'll see you in a couple of moments.
It differs slightly depending how lively I'm feeling first thing in the morning. Sometimes I head to the gym. More often than not, I don't head to the gym and I go on the school run. After the school run, I'm normally in here, getting by about 10 o'clock, chatting with the producer, whoever that might be on the day. So I've started going home a little bit more now, actually, in between shows. I only live about 5 minutes up the road, so it's nice to take a bit of a break. Go and make a nice cheese sarnie. Yeah. Cheese sarnie, I love a cheese sandwich. Going home. I can't say the end of the day. You might want to keep this in. I can't say the end of the day, can I? The best part of the day is starting off and finding out what kind of a day it's going to be. Oh, probably night owl now. Never shower. He's so dirty. Oh, that's a really good question again. I'm a bath man. I love a bath. Coffee in the morning, tea in the evening. No breakfast. I don't really have breakfast. I tend to sort of eat my first meal around lunchtime. Craft along. My waistcoats, my range of waistcoats, because you've always got to have plenty of waistcoats ready for the day. Is help the guys pack up. I know you're looking at me saying you don't do that. I do. I'm not one of those presenters that comes in, you know, doesn't help the backstage crew. I'm always helping out. You just ask anybody else.
My day-to-day life is pretty busy in work. Literally, I get in the door, I check my polls, I then check what I've got to demo, I then get everything ready, and it's just busy, busy, busy from there. I have a meeting with the producer, the director, we get then sorted for the shows, talk to the presenter, and it depends what side I'm on. I mean, sometimes I'm doing the presenting side, sometimes I'm doing the demonstration side, and I love both. It's actually who I get to work with. That's, yeah, I can't say no more than that other than anybody that works here. We are a big family. We're so super friendly. I love Ben. I love it when we work together. And I don't mean that I don't love anyone else. It's the fact that Ben is the presenter and then I'm demonstrating and we just have this great rapport. Same with Craig, same with Deb, same with the whole team. So yeah, the best part of the day is just getting to work with the best people in the industry. Oh, a night out. In the morning. Oh, none. I only drink water. Oh, well, I'm cutting out sugar, so it's got to be savoury. Masterclass. Oh, I can't leave the house without my lipstick. Oh, I love a baked potato. I relax, so I literally drive home normally and then I relax.
Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Countdown to Launch and we are showing you all sorts of different launches that you're going to be able to see this month. Lots and lots of things we've shown you already, and this next one I'm going to show you, oh god, I love a bit of vellum and I love a little bit of washi tape. So they've just like mashed them up. Vellum washi tape rolls. Isn't this cool? I really like these. Look, loads and loads of different things that you've got here. You get 2 different sentiments per roll. So I'm just showing you the boards now. I'm actually going to show you some of the actual the things now. But loads and loads of different ones here in different colours. So you've got this one in gold. The first one was in black. This next one is your silver. That's better, you can see it now, can't you? You can see it's shimmering. We then have this next one, which is your rose gold. Love that. You've then got Christmas gold. Look at that, that bar humbug one. That is great, isn't it? And if you've got, you know, there's lots you can do with these, whether you're going to be using them to put on as sentiments, but actually I'd quite like wrapping my presents in brown paper and then putting these on the top of the presents, that bar humbug one. This one's the same one in silver. We then have it in, guess what? Red, Christmas red, and then in green, but all the same sentiments, Christmassy sentiments. So when you actually get them, there'll be these little packs like this, and then I've already got one that I've opened up. You can see how they're going to look. Now, they're not, I did think, oh, they're not very sticky on the back. That's because they've got protective film on them. So you just need to cut the size that you want it to be, then pull the protective film over the top. But I love a bit of vellum, I love a bit of washi tape, and these are fixing my addiction to washi tape and vellum. Craig, I love these. I'm going to have to get my order in for these as soon as possible. These are great, aren't they?
They are fab, they are fab. You know, you dictate how long you want them to be, of course. You can then adapt them if you want to. So they could be bridging your card projects when it comes to your concepts, like you can see here. So you can then go right along the bottom if you want to, but then you get that little bit of a translucity to them, so you can layer them over your embossed backgrounds. You can then start to pop them along that central within your cardstock into the background as well. What about just going along the bottom? And with these ones, because of the positioning of them, you can go into the corner, you can go along the middle, you can go towards the left-hand side, the right-hand side. These can go back when it comes to your apertures if you want to. Lovely additional accent to your letterpress. I mean, look at that down in that bottom corner there. Because you've got the spacing, like you will see in a moment, that's where you've got that scope to go left, right, corner, centre, angle, completely up to you. And then you've got your greens and you've got your reds within the Christmas. You've got some silver in there with the Christmas, but then you've also got blacks, you've got rose golds, you've got gold, silver within all occasion as well. So start to team them with doing things such as your glitter. So having that strip, that gives you a little indication of the length of gap that you've got between each sentiment. So if you do want to have them on an elongated card, you can absolutely do that because you've got that wide gap. Maybe you just want to snip them off and create a topper. Really fab. You've got that option. Because it is your vellum and because you're going to cut that, you can cut them at an angle. Another one, form one, where it's like just a little topper there. You would think that one there onto a navy pearl card, that sentiment's been heat embossed. Well, it's not. It's then been placed over the top there. So many ways, really are so many ways. Your milk cartons to finish, your little gift bags to finish, because the design team have had an absolute blast with creating all of the cards. So what I've got is I've got some cardstock, I've got some white pearlescent, I've got some gold satin, I've got some black card, white card, and I've got some of my vellum rolls here. I've got a little bit of craft as well. Let's just go in with the black here. Now, as Becky was saying, there is a self-adhesive strip onto the back there. Gives it that little bit of extra protection, and then you've got that little edge there held down. I personally at home, I like to keep my little bit, and then it just stops it from unraveling. It's very similar to the low-tack tape that you got with the letterpress. It's not, but it's very similar. That's the best way to describe it. So I keep it and just use it to hold down the edge. So if I take that off for now, and then this is where you've got your strips. So within that one, you've got your two different sentiments, as Becky was saying, within each one, all of them being different. So if I take my pearl card, so my Centura pearl, and I take the birthday, so you can then go within the middle, like so, but then you can go further down, you can go even down at the bottom, but then because you've got scope on the left and right hand side, that means you can then go to the right hand side, you can go to the left hand side, you can go top corner to the side, into the middle. But then you can go down at angles here that you can see. You can turn that around. You can go lengthwise. You can go corner to corner.
Nice.
And that is the great thing with having the vellum, but also having that extra gap, that extra space between them. And we will use them, but again, I just want to show you whether it's your gold cardstock, got that same idea. That's just the black that I'm using at the moment. So you're going in with things such as your craft card.
Nice.
We've then got some with our white card, and then I'll bring it in, but obviously your black, you still get a little bit of that. It's kind of like a heat embossed look. Although it's flat, it's a little bit of a heat embossed look. And then although we've got our silver, our black, our rose gold, we've got our gold, we've got our green, and then we've got our red. Let's actually, seeing as we are going currently into the Christmas season, let's bring in the Christmas one here, and we will use it. So let's peel that off here. As I said at the start, keep a hold of these. Personally, I've been keeping a hold of them to tack down the end so they don't constantly unravel. So I'm going to peel that one off here. If we just grab hold of it into place and then pop that to the side. So this one being your Christmas, you've got your season's greetings and Merry Christmas. So if we go in, maybe what's it like within the gold here? So works well
That's
within
nice,
the gold. Yeah. Let's keep it really, really sophisticated within your Centura pearl. So if let's say I want to go right throughout that centre there, all that I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut close to that edge here. And what I'm also going to do, because I don't need it all, let's just snip a little bit extra off, and then we can start to peel that back in. So if you just go in, bend it over, and then I just then pull back with my nail, and then we're just going to then fold that back on itself, peel it off, and then we're going to then pop that to where we want. So do we want it in the middle? Do we want it further down? We could do further down. We can then press, press, press. I'm going to lift that up. I'm going to fold that over. You can either cut it clean or fold it over. And then I like to just give it a nice press. You can burnish it if you want to, but I just use my finger. So you've got your season's greetings there. What about as well, you know, we could, if you wanted to, make a little scene, Merry Christmas,
nice.
Season's greeting, with a little sentiment into the middle. Or let's just do one last one by having a play. Let's go in with the gold, because this one is not a Christmas one that I'm using. So we can either snip it by creating our own sentiment of choice within that block. By chance we met, by choice we are friends, or we became friends.
Isn't that lovely?
Isn't that really nice? So really it's like me and you, Becky.
Yeah.
So we can go in at the angle here. I'm going to have a look. So if I think it'll be nice down in that bottom corner. So I'm going to keep it the length as it is, and then I'm going to chop it off afterwards. And then you can decorate with maybe some of your flowers. But every single collection that you've got now, this is an add-on. So what I mean by that, every nature garden, every Sarah's Signature, every Crafter's Companion collection, you've now got an add-on, because these are going to work with every style, every colour, every concept. So we can then press that down. As I said, you can either fold it over or you can snip away. What I've been doing, Becky, is I've been snipping a little bit and then folding the rest.
Yeah.
You can just fold the whole lot if you want, but I've just been snipping some of that off and then give that a press once again. And then you could go in maybe a little heat embossed image, but having that on the black, whereas you've then got that gold sentiment. So you might be a fan of heat embossing, but you're not too comfortable and confident with doing your heat embossing, you've got that option. So each of the rolls, you're going to be getting two different sentiments. You've got the gold, you've got silver, you've got rose gold, you've got green, you've got reds as well. And then, of course, you've got a multitude of different ways, styles, positionings that you can use. Each of these vellum rolls are absolutely fab. They're really, really good within these vellum washi rolls. And I think they're going to be a key staple to many of your cards and your crafting projects.
Thanks very much, Craig. Judging by the comments, yes. Trish says, I'm very excited about these Vellum washi tapes. I have to have them. I feel exactly the same. Tracy says, I've never seen Vellum washi tapes. That's really interesting. Marley says, Vellum washi, brilliant. So I'm going to say this the wrong way round. I'm going to call them Vellum, aren't they? Vellum washi tapes. Brilliance at work. Mary says, I'm really loving the different ways that CC has come out with sentiments. Yeah, that we try and do different things, don't we? Doris says, the washi tape is a must. This is great, CC. Alison says, these are a must for me. For me, alone with these sentiments, I'd be absolutely sorted. Imani says a very good point, that vellum is so hard to hide the adhesive, so vellum washi is the smartest thing I've ever seen. Yes.
That is a really good point.
It's always difficult, isn't it?
It's one of the questions we get asked a lot about how do you hide, of course, the positioning and the laydown of vellum. This one is covered, it's sorted because it's done for you.
Yeah, makes it nice and easy. Suzanne says, I'm making holiday cards with the neighbourhood kids. These washi tape sentiments will work out great. Lisa said the tape is a great concept. And Charlotte says, OK, Craig has sold me on the vellum washi tape. They'll come handy on cards. Absolutely. Does anyone want these rolls? Make me wishy-washy, says Margaret. And Trish says, I want the vellum washi tapes. I'll be ordering multiples for sure. I think they are great. They are. I think they have to be one of my favourite things. Now, we do want to remind you, these are all launches that are going to be happening soon. So you can't get them yet. But if you did want to make sure you don't miss out, go to the website, go and look at the Crafters TV section. And then when you want to say, watch now, and then if you go shop the show, and then you'll see all of the products on the show. When you click into them, you will have the option to notify me. So we're just going to show you there. So it's coming soon. It says notify me. So click on that, and then you will be popped your email address in there, and then we will let you know once they are available. So you don't have to miss out, because I can imagine this is very tantalising, showing you these things. We're going, look, we're taking them away.
It's like dangling that carrot, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I don't like that, which is why I'm going to make sure there's some things that I can make sure that I can ask somebody to put them by for me, if I can, because I always like to do that. Do remember on the website there's also the firework flash sale, so that's on everything that's shiny, basically. It's almost like they thought, what would Becky like? So anything glittery, shiny, sparkly, there's all sorts of different products that includes. So have a look on there, because there's some great deals on there. There's also 30% off assorted ink pads, and there's also up to 70% off some embossing folders. So make sure you have a look at all of those as well. Right, the next thing we are going to show you are these. These are the Sheena Douglas double exposure sets of stencils and stamps. So if I show you, I've got them round the wrong way slightly actually. If I do that first of all, no, like that. So you can see what we're doing here. This shows you these stencils. So we've got stencils here of rabbits. A rabbit, and we've also got a stencil there of a bird. But they're used in conjunction with these other stamps, so you get this wildlife effect within the actual animal, and they're really, really clever. So you can see fully the type of thing that you're putting here. So you can see with that rabbit, you've almost got the view how I'd expect from Watership Down with all of the meadow there. We've got here with the bird, you've got sort of mountainous ideas here. We've also got another one here which has got the wolf in two different guises. So we've got the howling wolf, and we've also got just a wolf's head. But of course you get all of these stamps in with these to create the different designs that go inside. So you can see all of these different stamps that create that little that image. So you've got that stencil to go around the outside, and you've got the stamps to go inside. To show you exactly what I mean, here are the stencils. So you have these stencils here. So you have that large close-up of the wolf's head, and you've got that howling wolf in there as well. And then you've also got the same for the bird. It's an owl, isn't it, I think? And also the hare rather than the rabbit. And then I'm going to show you the stamps that you get with these as well. You can see what they look like. These are absolutely beautiful. I mean, whether you use these with the way that they've been arranged with these actual stencils, or whether you use them ordinarily, you absolutely can do that. They're beautiful beautiful. You've got some sentiments in there. As always with Sheena's products, they are absolutely stunning. These are something a little bit different, aren't they, Craig? I've not seen anything quite like this before with these quite big stencils.
It's funny because a while back, I know of the concept, and I've had to play, you know, a long, long time ago, maybe just with a square aperture or a circle aperture, and creating, of course, that design in the middle, and then overlaying that die-cut circle or square aperture. This, however, this is such a great idea, using them within that template forum. So what we're going to be doing, and we are going to have a little play in a moment, but we can then be inking through, but while the stencil is still in play, you can then come along and ink and stamp the design in the middle.
Lovely.
Which is so fun, really is fun. Maybe you just want to do that block. I mean, look at that, and then overlaying while the stencil's in play with, of course, those stamps, the silhouette stamps. You've got the detailed stamp as well. You've got some filler stamps. I mean, look at the werewolf that you've got. Now you've got all these different designs that Becky was showing that you can mix and match. It's not as though the mountains have to work with just the wolf. You can use it with, of course, whether it's the hare or maybe the hawk that you'll see in a moment. This one, love that one.
Oh, look at that.
Isn't that fab? So if you're familiar with Sheena's style, if you ignore the fact that that is a silhouette of a wolf, all that you would be doing is you'd be creating that background, Becky, but you'd be doing it while that template stencil is still in place, as you'll see in a moment. Maybe you're going to then expand that to the side with your inks. Maybe you're going to do a little bit of half and half. It's really, really fun. This one, it's like a little bit of a watermark effect that you can just make out the outline of that wolf, which is a fab one as well. If we go along, let's bring in this one. Framing with nesting dies afterwards. Great to do your home decor if you want. So how do you do it? The initial concept anyway. Let's bring in our stamping platform. So if I bring in some card, so I'm going to use some watercolor card here, and let's go in with, it could be the bird, it could be a hawk, it could be many, many different things, and we're going to position that into place. You get the positive and the negative. So I'm going to pop that into place. I'm going to bring in some low tack tape. What you can do with these were produced before our stamping platform. If you've got a hole punch, use your hole punch and then use the little tab that you've got included. So add your own holes, and then you can then, of course, add that into place. But what we're going to do in the meantime is let's use some of our low tack tape to hold that down. I'm going to do a little bit at the bottom as well. Don't need to worry about the card because I'm using our new stamping platform. What I'm then doing is I'm going to bring in some baby blue here, and let's use our blending brush. So if I go in with the baby blue, and I'm going to then just set that to the side so it's crossing over onto my stamping platform so it's not moving about. And then what I'm going to do is I'm taking a little bit of the excess off, and then I can start to ink and blend that colour. I'm not worried about the inside or the outside just now because I can remove that. All that I want to do is I just want to get some of this colour on. I'm going to bring in a little bit of probably ocean blue and then midnight, because I am having a look. I've got a card, a finished example at the side of me that I'll show you at the end, where I'm kind of running along the same steps. I know when these launch, Sheena will be showing many ways and her creative ways that she always does. Now, a note to you, doesn't quite look like there's any baby blue. Yeah, there you go, you can see it there. You've got some of the baby blue. You've got some of your ocean blue here. So if I bring in the water reactive of the ocean blue, and then I'm just going to go within the middle here. And I'm actually, instead of going onto my glass mat, what I'm doing is I'm just using the edge of my stencil, taking a little bit of the excess. It's not something you necessarily have to do or worry about with our water reactives, but it's habit. It's something that I've always done, even before getting a hold of my water reactives many, many years ago. So bringing in that mid-tone, and then if I come along now, if I take maybe the darker, so if I take the midnight, and I'm going to add just a little bit onto my blending brush, and we're going to ink that to the top. Remember what I said at the start, I'm not worried about the edges because I can come along and I can chop that down afterwards. So a little bit of the midnight. Let's go back into the ocean blue, so that mid-tone. I'm taking some of that deep colour off, and then we can then blend that back into place. So if I blend that in, and what you're going to be able to do, although the concept is to use the stamps, and that's what we're going to do, these create just lovely, beautiful coloured silhouettes. So I'm taking some of that excess off, and then we're going to then just go back into that light tone to blend that out. Water reactive, but use many of your water-based ink pads that you've got at home. Now, because I've got my hinge that I've created at the top, what I'm going to do is if I take this off just so that you can see, look at that by using them on their own. How beautiful does that look? Looks so, so smart. But what I am going to do is I am going to close that. And then let's go in with, let's take the B1 with nature. We'll go that one, or no, the one with the mountains. So let's go in with just breathe here. So if we go in with the mountains, and I'm going to just take that one off. And this is where I'm going to keep the stencil in place. Okay. I'm not moving the stencil. And I'm going to work that into where I want it to be. What I'm going to also do is I'm going to go in, still with water reactive, but I'm going to go in with a deeper grey. And I'm going to try this. If it's not too deep, then I can go back over the top with another depth of grey. And I'm going to ink up, because I want to have fun with the water-based element of these. What I want to do as well is consider it might be a little bit too grey, too dark. So a light press, take just a little bit off. Okay. And then I'm going to go back in, press that in. If I've taken too much, I can then, of course, just reapply even more. If I lift, which I have, we can just see it, but I've taken a little bit too much off. So what I'm just doing, light tap over the top, and then we're going to then press that down into here, remove. You can start to see, look at that. Yeah, I just love that you've got the mountains coming all the way through. I'm going to then add, I want that a little bit deeper. Now you can be using your watercolor ink pads if you want to. Of course, if you come and spritz with water now afterwards, the grey that I'm using, Misty Mountains, that's also going to move. If you want to keep it in place, then of course use your waterproof ink pad. Well, you're going to have to watch, because although the stencil is quite thin, you've still got that little step side by side. So all that I'm going to do is I'm just going to press a little bit harder to each of the sides where it crosses over within the actual stencil. Now I've got it right up to the edge, the side, and then the bottom. If I take that one off, and then let's go in, let's jump into that first one I had originally, B1 with nature, and let's go in with this one. So I'm going to then peel that off. I'm going to do exactly the same again. So I'm going to come down by the side, but I want to have a crossover of the base of the tree. And then once I'm happy with that, I'm then going to then hold that in. We're going to then press down, and then we're going to go into that same ink pad here. We're going to ink up. So if I start to ink that one up, and we're going to press, and I'm going to press into the corner of that connection part of the stencil in the card, because we've got that little bit of a lip, that little bit of a step, and then we're going to then release that. And although it's water reactive, so it's not going to be overly crisp or clear, maybe like a quick dry or an alcohol proof or a waterproof, I like that effect. I don't want it with this style, I don't want it to be overly perfect, hence why I'm using water reactive to be actually stamping with. Now you can also then come along, you can do the waves with your water if you want to, but if I take that off, so I'm not going to move it just yet. What I'm then going to do, Becky, if I take some water, now this, I will just need to be careful, because if I cross over into the grey, that will also move because it's a water reactive. Going back to what I said a moment ago, if you don't want any of this to move, use your waterproof ink pad. So I'm going to go in with some water here, just a little bit of water on a paintbrush, I'm going to get a little bit of kitchen roll or a microfiber cloth or something at the ready. And if you want to then use maybe a circle die as something rough, then you can do. But I'm just going to go in with a circle and then I'm going to lift. So we're starting to create kind of like that moon, a way into the background. Let's refine that a little bit. So this is the point. I mean, if I go onto the grey, I'm also going to lift that up. So I'm just being careful that I don't go too much into, of course, the grey. And then if I just press that up, lifting off that colour, I'm just going to then colour once again over the top, take any excess I can. Now you're going to refine it, you're going to come along with more shading with some of your inks, maybe your pens if you want to, go in with more of the layering, go in with your white gel pens if you want. But how lovely does that look? Way into the background. And then even if I just come along, just a little bit of a squiggle within the water, leave that for a moment or two, pick that up. I would be using a white gel pen. You'll see the finished example that I've got to the side. I'm just roughly, very roughly following the steps. But if I then pick that up, a little bit of water, leave that a second. But what you'll get is you'll get the idea and the concept, Becky, that when I lift that up here, carefully peel that up.
Wow.
Look at that. So if we peel that one off, so you're going to start building and building. You've got all those stamps that Becky was showing you. And as you continuously build up, this is the kind of idea that I'm going with. Go in with your whites, go in with your white gel pens, go in with that splattered effect. You can see, I think it was Pamela that's made this one on Sheena's design team. So to stop any of that moving, she'll have used a waterproof ink pad, but still it's nice and it's flexible and it's forgiving to bring in your water reactive, building up that scene within the aperture, of course, of the double exposure. Beautiful collection. It's one that I'm actually looking forward to actually getting home and having a play when I probably should be working.
Thanks very much, Craig. They are so effective, really lovely. I do have a question.
Yes.
Laurie says, can you stamp the scene without the stencil?
Of course you can, yeah. You can use them as scene building stamps if you want to. Just don't put a stencil down.
Yep. Fabulous. Loads of people loving these. And also, Hannah Gosling-Smith, and you're not the only person, said, I didn't know you could notify me for new releases. That's handy. Does it also work for things that are out of stock? We'll find that out. Because that was just something I thought, maybe if something's out of stock. And only because
we used to have anyway, a notify me when back in stock.
Yeah.
Whether we still have something like that within our new website. But
we'll find out.
We'll have a look.
We'll find out. Michelle says, oh, cool, another Sheena great. Suzanne says, love Sheena's new release. Beth says, oh, wow, these are amazing. They are so effective, aren't they? Evelyn says, I like all of Sheena's designs. It's going to be beautiful, and it is. Mary Shaw says, Sheena is amazing. I just love this collection. Karen says, I love these samples. Are the stamps with these silhouettes? Yes, you get those. There are stamps, they're two separate packs, but yeah, they're made to work together. Paul Print Times 4 says these make spectacular cards. And Genesis says, mesmerise is an understatement for the new Sheena Double Exposure collection. Marshall says, these are gorgeous. Sheena does it again. They really are absolutely beautiful. And as we are saying to you, we are offering, you can choose somebody at random. If you message in and let us know what your favourite launch is coming up. So we're showing you these. We're not giving you the actual dates they're coming out. So if you just go to the website, you'll be able to select Notify Me and we'll be able to let you know when they do come out. But if you let us know which one you're looking forward to, we're going to choose somebody at random by the end of the show, and you're going to win a £100 voucher. It's well worth doing, isn't it? Even if you want, like some people have said, I want everything. Well, I don't blame you. I'd want everything too. Another thing that you're going to be absolutely falling in love with is a Majestic unicorn. This collection, we're starting with the paper pad here. There's a lot to this collection. The paper pad is glorious. The colours in here are like sugared almonds. I said to Craig earlier, he looks like a sugared almond today, and he really does, but the colours in here, they are absolutely beautiful. Very bold designs we've got in this collection. They're double-sided pearlescent paper pad here. This is the 12 by 12 one. You can see all of the different designs that you've got there, all those beautiful unicorns. This is going to appeal to people, whether they are young or old, really beautiful. But what we've done is something slightly different, because the 6 by 6 paper pad is not a smaller version of the 12 by 12 paper pad. This one looks like it's all of your favourite glamorous unicorns in here. Again, it's pearlescent paper, but these form what's going to be, part of your, major part of your card making. You've got, it's almost like, it's Tinder for unicorns. That's what I reckon it is. It's like online dating, because you can see all of their different profile pictures. Look at them. They are absolutely beautiful. So many gorgeous colours, so many different designs. I didn't believe there were that many beautiful unicorns in the world. You can see all of the different designs on the back here. But that's your 6 by 6 paper pad. So not a smaller version of the 12 by 12 paper pad, but something that totally different in itself. We have got Craig's favourite, the linen cardstock here. So A4 linen cardstock in all of those colours are going to work so well with that those colours there. And we've also got some vellum. I had to open the pack of these because these are just incredible. As we've done with vellums before, they are pictures of the pads, basically. These are your 8 by 8 pieces of vellum. They are absolutely beautiful. Look at the colours in there, the richness, the depth of colour you've got in here. So many pretty designs, so many different ways you can use all of these different vellums. They are absolutely gorgeous in this collection. But that's not all. The rest of this collection is fantastic as well, because we are also doing you some illusion film in that beautiful bright yellow colour. We've got a 3D embossing folder, and I'm going to show you the boards of these in just a moment as well. We've got this Embrace Your Unicorn metal die. This one here has beautiful rainbow on it and some sentiments as well. This one is a stamp and die set, which has got that fantastic unicorn. This one here is a stamp and die set, Embrace Your Inner Unicorn. That one, I think that one's beautiful. That was my favourite unicorn, if you can have favourites when they come to unicorns. And then you've got some sentiments in here as well. But have a look at this embossing folder. Look at that. Is that not just incredible? Look how much you're getting in that. Absolutely beautiful. And then here are the boards showing you all those various dies and stamps that you're going to be getting in the collection. There is so much in here. I mean, we automatically think of unicorns as being something that, little girls like, but actually they go through all the ages and all through the different genders. They are just an absolutely beautiful collection. That's some of the illusion film there. Craig, I'd love to see some of the samples that the design team have made with these.
That really, really are beautiful samples here, all running through, of course, as you were saying, Becky, that pastel tone, but you can start to add all your deeper shades of card if you want to. You've got that edgeable, really, really easy to use, that illusion film on the back. What about bringing in all your patchwork dies to work? In that one there, you would not think it's from anything related to a unicorn. You've got that edgeable again, but bringing in that 6 by 6 Becky was showing, even doing a little bit of fussy cutting if you want to. Stamping the dies, the papers, the colours, that pearlescent look that you're getting within the papers are beautiful. But you can do your alcohol colouring, your water-based colouring. And yes, it's the unicorn, but as I said it right at the start of the show, Becky, you've not got, I'll finish that sentence in a moment, because look at that one. Look at that with your glitter paints as well, your shimmer paints, your shimmer palettes, all of those you're going to start to be using in conjunction with this collection. But as I was saying right at the start, it's not kind of too cutesy, but on the other hand, it's not kind of a very old and vintage feel with a horse or a unicorn feel. Do the paper piecing, do the inky ombre effect, and then do the paper piecing. Small cards, larger cards. So many of your cards, you would simply be taking the 6 by 6, Born to Be Us, and then the stamp version with that unicorn at the end. But what about your boxes too, with that folder, using the folder to then use with the boxes and the layering of the boxes. The sentiments are really good substantial sentiments to be using completely on their own. How smart is that? I've never seen anything like that before that Sandy's created, Sandy
That is
Brooke.
clever.
I think I'm going to have to take that idea at some point down the line, because that's just one of the paper images, and it looks as though it's been cut, divided out, which technically it has, but if you were to take all those strips and marry them side by side, they're going to, of course, create that full image. You're not using anything or losing anything. You're creating that bridge work as well. You've then got that ability to do that elongated cards with the 6x6 and also that edgeable. Show you one more before we crack on and do a little bit of cutting. Look at that, going in with the vibrancy of your ink pads and that 3D folder that you've got. So many more samples that you will see, not only throughout the launch day of this, but then throughout the additional shows that we'll be doing. All of these ones you're going to find, you're going to have your master classes, you're going to be having your craft alongs as well. So these are still going to be featured within all the shows, including things such as launch parties. So you're going to get my take, you're going to get the two Debbie's takes on them as well. And then just really simply going in with a card blank. It's a 5x5 card blank, and we've got that edgeable die. Now, if you're not familiar with an edgeable die, that is the way that it's going to cut, but of course, to describe what I'm going to describe, I do need to turn it around. The left-hand side here will cut away, which will be the right-hand side. So that's the way it's going to be. So all this excess is going to cut away, but then this side here is going to stay in place. So you can go in to the edge of the card, and that's how things such as that has then been created. But what you can do, and I'm just following along within this one here, you can go at the angles if you want to. So where you've got the tip of the end blade, same with the bottom down here, we're just going to then channel from top corner to bottom corner. If you find it a little bit difficult, Becky, to kind of visualise that corner to corner, what to do is just go in with a pencil, and if you've got a ruler, then of course you can do that ruler. I'm just doing a rough line down into here, so I know that I am perfect corner to corner. Let's bring in our low-tack tape to hold that down. So we're going to hold that in. When it comes to an edgeable die, what I like to do is pop my tape onto the right-hand side, because all this is going to be waste. So we're going to open it up, and then let's bring in our plates. We're going to flip that over from when we used it earlier on, and then we're going to go in with our frosted, our magnetic, and our top plate. This is quite a detailed die, hence why we're going to be adding our magnetic shim in. And with the size of the card blank, it will go through your junior or things such as your midi. Remember, they'll also go through all your other branded die cutting machines, size dependent of the card that you're making. But if we then take that away, open that up, and then what we've then got is the ability to chop it away. So if I carefully prise that away, it's left in place because, of course, you've got that top and that bottom of that cutting edge. So all that we need to do is go from corner to base. We're going to turn that around and go corner to top cut, move that out the way, and then this is where we're going to get that angle of the unicorn. And then all that we need to do, if I take all that excess out for now, I'm just going to roughly repeat that. Now that's also 5x5, so I'm going to chop that so it's a little bit smaller. So let's go, so that was 5.5 by 5.5. So let's do 5x5. So it's smaller than our initial card blank layer. And then we can do what we've done before. It doesn't need to be overly accurate, so I'm not going to do a pencil line, just as long as I'm roughly corner to corner. I am going to move that down ever so slightly, just so that I can get the tip of that unicorn in. So it's not going to be exactly corner to corner. It doesn't matter, you're not going to notice it when we start to apply it together. And then we're going to go in with our base frosted magnetic top plate. So you can easily use this die, although it's that edgeable factor where it stays in on the left-hand side, cuts away on the right-hand side. You can still use them for your square panels if you want, rectangle panels, but then we can use them to do the drop shadows. So if we move that out the way, so we're going to peel that off, peel that away. We're going to go in with our scissors and we're going to snip that one away. Let's move that out the way just now. we're going to take our dotty tape runner. Now at home, because this is really, really intricate, Becky, this is where personal preference, I use my tacky glue within the small applicator.
Yeah.
But as long as you're really, really careful and you're just giving it that helping aid by holding down with your dotty tape runner, you can absolutely use your dotty tape runner, because this is why the dotty tape runner was created, for your really intricate die cut pieces. You just need to make sure that you don't go too hard-handed and then snap the little bits off. But then we can then turn that one around, and then all that we need to do is we're just going to marry that up, so then we've got a light drop shadow. So any little bits that are formed up, give it a light little press down, and then we're going to then maneuver that into place. So we've got that drop shadow. Your tacky glue will give you that wiggle room, but if you gently press down, and then this is why when we cut into that mint card, it wasn't exactly corner to corner, but it doesn't matter because you don't see it.
Yeah.
All that we were wanting is that drop shadow. Because it's a drop shadow, you will have an overhang, so you're just going to snip that off, and same into there, snip that off here, and then against the white, you can see, so we can see here, just going to snip that. I'm going to keep that as straight as I can. We can cover that up with another piece that we've cut. We're going to press that down. So against the white, you can see
lovely.
There's where you've got your drop shadow. But then if you start to team that with your linen cardstock, your 6x6, the sentiments as well. So that's how we get the concept of corner to corner, and then you can start to decorate it till your heart's content. Whether you want to use the pastel tones or bringing in all your dark tones, your bright cardstocks, then of course you can start to team them together as well.
Wow, Craig, that looked amazing. That collection is really good. And actually, that seems to be what most people are talking about. Paul in Pitt says, the Unicorn collection is definitely a nanny and granddaughter's crafting together collection. Lynn says, oh wow, that 6x6 is beautiful. I love unicorns. Trish says, oh wow, wow, wow. Beautiful vellums, absolutely. Charlene says, you could frame the unicorns for a child's room. That's a really nice idea. 'Cause Craig, you framed the flamingo collection for us and put it in the green room, so maybe we should do that with the unicorns.
And my bathroom.
And your bathroom?
They're in my bathroom as well.
There's photographs of your bathroom in the green room.
The flamingo paper pads, I put them in a box frame, and they're in my bathroom, and I also brought some and put them in our green room as well.
I think we should all take photos of our bathrooms and frame them and put them in the green room.
Oh,
That'd be funny.
Is that a dare?
Yeah, all right.
Don't dare me.
Yeah, you do yours, I'll do mine.
Right, let's do that.
And Debbie Fisher will definitely want to do hers because she's got a new bathroom.
She has indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're doing a game, guess the bathroom.
So when we have any visitors and they walk into our green room and they just see these box frame pictures of bathrooms.
To be honest, it's only us that go in there.
To be fair, yeah.
I think we should do that.
Oh, I'm going to do that.
That's right. I'm going to do it as well, Craig. Don't worry. You won't be the only one. Kirsty D, I think you have a real affiliation with unicorns. She says, I definitely want this collection. I need it desperately now. Sorry, I mean, I would really like to add this unicorn collection to my crafty goodies. I would give them a good home. Don't worry. Just go onto the website, find where it is, put notify me, and then you'll be able to find out when it gets launched. We're coming soon. And Sandra says, my granddaughter loves unicorns and the vellum is gorgeous. Josephine says, I love the countdowns to launch. And Kimberly says, the launches are all unique and all amazing. Can I announce the winner? Oh, okay, not yet. You're going to have to wait. Oh, who is it? Oh, who knows? The next one I'm going to show you is the lovebirds. Look at that. Is that not lovely? I'm starting with the paper pad because this one I saw when we first got it in here, and this was my favourite because I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. Ah, look at these. Look at these beautiful paper pads. You've got the lovebirds featuring on each one of these, and look at the colours, the joyful colours you've got in here. They're double-sided paper pads, so one is a more muted pattern on the rear, but not by much actually. I think all the difference is slightly smaller pattern, no lovebirds on the B side, but beautiful colours. Look at all of them all those beautiful flowers. The colours that you've got in here are really lovely, and the designs are super crisp in here as well. This is your 12 by 12 paper pad. This is your tropical, your lovebirds. But also in the collection, you're going to be getting things like linen cardstock. We always like to give you the matching linen cardstock that goes with the collection. We've also got the 6 by 6 paper pad, which in this case is a smaller version of the 12 by 12. You have got stamps. Oh, this is lovely. This, I think, is gorgeous. So this is an embossing folder with that beautiful spray of flowers down there. And then we've got a creator card die here. We've also got a stamp and die set with the little lovebirds. And this is a fantastic edgeable that we've got with that sort of gilded cage. So to show you what they look like on the boards, this one is that creator card. That is a blossom that I just showed you as an embossing folder, which is just lovely. We've also got lovebirds here. We've got the sentiments here. Good friends lift you when you forget to fly. That's a lovely sentiment, I like that one. And then that's that edgeable with the little gilded cage with the lovebirds inside it. Beautiful collection, this one. I love the colours that we've got in here as well. The linen cardstock's always your favourite anyway, isn't it, Craig? But the papers in this are lovely.
Really, really nice. They're actually along the lines of that oriental chinoiserie sort of feel to them, as well as having that lovebird. But you've got that creator card we will run through in a moment. Lovely to then paper piece back in and creating your shakers if you want to. Going in and do your watercolouring or your alcohol colouring. But I mean, having the ability to create your concepts, your theatres, your dioramas, they work an absolute treat. Your alcohol colouring there, I mean, just having them both together there works really, really well. Teams really, really well. Even doing that layering within that drop shadow, going back to that creator card. Actually, you can tell that creator card was a firm favourite because there's another one. But look at it within the black, and it's just been trimmed down ever so slightly. That edgeable being inked through, so you can use it the same way I showed you how you can use the unicorn. But you can see bringing in all your layering dies, bringing in your stepper dies, going in with that beautiful floral folder as well. But if I bring in one last one within that folder that you can see here, in actual fact, one more here, you can see by colouring them in with, of course, your pastel tones. And then that's the thing, you're in full control as to how you colour and the ways that you colour them. So let's take that creator card. I've got a little bit of that luxury linen. Why is it luxury? Because it's a little bit more textured than what you're going to be familiar with within our other ones. But if I go in with our white card. Now this is actually our white watercolour card. Remember, I always say your watercolour card is also a nice one to use within your craft and layering without doing anything stamping or watercolouring, because it's got that little bit of a texture to it. So therefore it's a nice addition to use instead of your white card, your white smooth card. Now create a card, so that means use the die on its own, it's going to cut into your card. Use that outer die, it's going to release it. But we're going to go frosted, magnetic and then top plate. And with the linen cardstock, I'd be bringing out my Shedless Glitter card, bringing out my Centura Pearl cardstock, because of course you've got that feel of love within that lovebirds. Use them out within the theme of love, of course. But if we then start to just prise that one away, we're going to then take that one off, and then beautiful clean cut. But if I then even just layer that over the top, how beautiful does that look? Completely on its own, strip sentiment. You've got the sentiment stamps in here as you were shown, Becky, but what about your vellum strips as well? Would work with this collection here. It's a beautiful, beautiful collection, and actually it also reminds me of a beautiful song, Lovebirds, that Leona Lewis sang. It's a really, really lovely song, just like a really lovely collection.
I've never heard of Leona Lewis singing that song. Sorry, I was just over the other side of the studio watching. How embarrassing. can I announce the winner now? Okay, so the winner is Lisa Robson on Facebook. Congratulations,
Yes.
Lisa. We just need, if you can email in ctvprizes@crafterscompanion.co.uk. That's ctvprizes@crafterscompanion.co.uk. That's Lisa Robson on Facebook. You have won a £100 voucher. Woohoo! It's a Crafters
Nice.
Companion voucher. Should just reiterate that. Not points, not points. It's a voucher. Very confused earlier on. Anne says, thank you to Craig for all the amazing demos. I think that's sentiment from everybody because they've been fantastic demos. It's been really good. And Vanessa says, the Lovebird collection is a must-have for me. It reminds me of back home. Fiona Wright says, I'd love to get the Lovebirds collection. And Erica said they make lovely anniversary cards. They really would. And Bethan said it's a beautiful collection. I think with everything that we've seen today, each one, everyone's gone, oh, I like that, I have to have that.
Yeah.
Bit by bit. And actually, let's be honest, we're all going to put them all in our baskets, aren't
Exactly,
we?
yeah.
They'd be difficult to choose.
After seeing all those samples as well, because I thought I could spend all the time at home prepping individual demos to show you, but then we've got so many incredible samples at the design team. So that's why I thought I'll just individually pick out something from each set just to showcase what that product does. And then what I'll do is, what I'm saying, ways within the team as well, within the shows, in the craft alongs, in the master classes, and the launch parties, Becky's, we'll be seeing so many, many ways in which we can use them.
Yeah, and I think it's always a good judge when you see how big the baskets are, how full they are with all the samples, how much the design team have enjoyed making them, and each one of those had a huge basket full of goodies. Now, Craig, we are back live at 5 with Masterclass, aren't we?
We are indeed. So we're going to be having a look at card, we're going to be having a look at paper, and we're going to be having a look at vellums as well. So in the show, when I get the questions in, so I've got things in mind as to what I'm going to do, but nothing set in stone, because I don't want to really focus on my thought process. I want to throw it against you guys at home and get the questions in to Becky within the show, and then we will, but you know what, we're going to follow your lead within Masterclass.
Fantastic. And will that be questions from seasoned crafters or brand new? We'll be looking for a little bit from everyone.
Absolutely anyone. Anyone,
Fantastic.
any question revolving around card, paper, vellums.
Brilliant. That's great. Thank you so much, Craig. Loads, and my credit card is going to be burning after all these launches come out. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and we'll come back a little bit later. We will be back with you at 5 o'clock for Masterclass. Have a lovely afternoon. Take care. Bye-bye.